forecast for Tuesday, March 21st. So today we have the moon moving out of this Piscean energy into Aries energy. And of course, the minute that we jump into that Aries energy at a 0 degree, we are going to have our new moon in Aries. This officially kicks off the new solar year, the new solar calendar that we're in, that of course got triggered and activated yesterday when the sun moved into Aries season, triggering the equinox, opening us up to a brand new cycle, a brand new season, a brand new chapter, where the karmic playing field is reset, where we are leveling up in this particular video game. And now the new moon in Aries is here at a 0 degree, very karmic in nature, in order for us to start fresh, to have a clean slate, to jump into new chapters, new patterns, new cycles, new beginnings, where we get to actually come back to life. Again, Aries energy, resurrection, revival, renewal, and we actually get to take action on initiating the new elements in our lives that's going to create a strong foundation for us to actually feel like we are being safe, secure, and stable in bringing new elements of the reality that we are hoping for into manifestation. There's a lot going on. So if you haven't downloaded your Aries season e-guide, I'm going to recommend you do that. And if you haven't downloaded your new moon in Aries moon guide, I'm going to recommend you do that. You could jump all over to Patreon and get discount codes for 50% off. My VIPs always get discount codes for my products. Or you could just jump right in and definitely take this opportunity to invest in yourself, especially seeing as we are starting a brand new year. Get your mind right, get your heart right, get your body right, get in alignment with all of these beautiful energies. So there are 11 different aspects here today. 9 of them involve the moon. The moon, while still in Pisces energy, is going to come up to, sit next to, bump into, team up with Neptune, who of course rules over Pisces energy. This is a lot of emotion, okay? This is a lot of, I'm going to say, subtle energies really swirling around us. Of course, we jumped into a brand new year, but the moon in Pisces energy still very much anchoring us to the past, to this last chapter, to this last cycle, and we are definitely shedding emotional, mental, spiritual, physical weight as we shift out of this Pisces energy and prepare to move into Aries energy. Now, this could go one of two ways. You could either be very inspired, you could have new insights coming in, new creative ideas coming in, really feeling the renewal, the revival of your soul, of your spirit coming to life once again. Of course, we're in a time where we are being rebirthed, resurrected, if you will. Or you could be so overwhelmed with the wish-washiness, the ebb and flow, the tug of war of energies, that you could be overwhelmed, shut down, disassociate, detach, and just kind of reach, I'm going to say, that ending point, that boiling point. As I've been speaking about, and go ahead and take a listen to the Ascension forecast for this week if you haven't already, it's a weird dynamic that we kind of moved into a new solar year, solar cycle with the sun moving into Aries energy, but the moon still very locked in to the old calendar, the old version, the old reality in this Pisces energy. And so, you know, we're in the dark phase of the moon. That's what a new moon is all about. We're supposed to be sitting in the funk of our emotions, of our thoughts, of our experiences, and really recognizing what it is that we're no longer in alignment with, what we don't want to experience, in order to create a framework on what it is that we do want to experience. And those seeds get planted in our conscious awareness under the new moon energy. And this sets the tone for the system, for the cycle, for the season that we want to initiate, that we want to experience over this next 2-year cycle. So it is an interesting dynamic, and the moon being in this Pisces energy, especially conjunct with Neptune, is kind of like the last hurrah, like the last layer, if you will, that needs to be shed in order for us to be the lightest version we could possibly be entering into this new solar year, this new calendar, and of course, the lightest version that we can be under this new moon in Aries. So Mercury, who is now in this Aries energy, is going to kind of I'm going to say, get into a situation, okay? It's not necessarily good, nor is it bad, with the true node. So the true node is our soul path. It's our destiny point. And Mercury, of course, now in Aries, you should be feeling that shift in your headspace, in your narrative. You should be feeling a little bit more bold and courageous to speak on some of the things that maybe you've been biting your tongue about. And this is a different perspective. This is a shift in focus, and especially where the true node is concerned. This is about us looking forward. And again, with this Aries energy, we have no want, need, or desire to continue to look back. Again, we kind of rip the rearview mirror off so that we are only focused on moving forward. We are seeing where it is that we want to move forward. We are seeing some steps actually present themselves for us to create distance away from the elements that we know that we have to change and transform, and where it is that we're being kind of gifted an opportunity to really set our sights on the path, on the direction that we want to walk from here. There is a huge amount of growth, a huge change, a huge transformation in our mental perspective, in our understanding, and the narrative that we have to support us in moving forward. And we are finally piecing together a little bit more of a strategy on how it is that we're going to take action, make moves, and actually advance ourselves into the futuristic realm of our experiences. Now, 5:24 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have Jupiter, the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, blessings, and our spiritual wisdom, who has been in this Aries energy, who's kind of been, I'm going to say, slow to grow in this Aries energy just because of all the other non-supporting aspects. Now that we have the majority of energy kicking in here in this Aries energy, we're going to see a huge leap forward. We're going to see Jupiter actually rise to the position that he's given in this Aries energy, where we want to create new opportunities for ourselves and make huge leaps of faith and really kind of just revamp, re-energize, revive ourselves, rebrand, re-identify who it is that we are, and push ourselves forward. Jupiter is semi-squaring, which is a tension point with Saturn, the Lord of Karma, who rules over roles, responsibilities, structures, foundations, who is fresh in this Pisces energy, attempting to wrap up a 30-year cycle once he is done this Piscean transit in about 3 years. So the reason why this is a little bit of a interesting configuration as we build towards the new moon in Aries is because this is the final interaction between Jupiter and Saturn in this particular cycle. So we had one back in July. Then we had another one in September. And of course, Saturn was not in Pisces in that time. That was Aquarian energy. And there were a couple of retrograde cycles kind of squished in between those two particular aspects. But Jupiter and Saturn have been kind of doing this very loose cha-cha-cha dance since the conjunction in 2020 that triggered the Great Awakening. And so we've been kind of going back and forth, and let me just kind of give you this analogy that I've been working with. I want you to think of an accordion. When Jupiter is in effect, that accordion grows. We maximize, we expand it to its fullest potential, and we get a very different sound, a different performance from that accordion when we're in the expansive mode. Saturn is about restriction. And so when Saturn comes into play, we squeeze that accordion back to its smallest point, its smallest frame. And because of that, we're getting a different sound, a different frequency coming out of the compression of the accordion. So how this kind of connects to real life scenarios is that Jupiter provides us with growth, with expansion. We take a couple of steps forward. And then we have Saturn kick in and he brings us a couple of steps back. Why? Because we're overly eager in the Jupiter energy to really push the boundaries of our experience and, typically speaking, dream a bigger dream than we should and bite off more than we can chew and overcommit. And that Saturn energy, although does kind of feel like a Debbie Downer, kind of preventing us from the growth that we want to kind of see within ourselves and the moves that we want to make, Saturn comes in and kind of pulls us back from doing too much too fast. And with Saturn's influence, we're seeing where it is that we have to step back and see where it is that we have to kind of give ourselves a reality check, bring ourselves back down to earth a little bit, be a little bit more logical and practical with the moves that we feel like we should be making. He kind of encourages us to restructure our plans, our lives, our goals, and put a different order to it. Mostly because the Jupiter energy sees the big picture, and sometimes missing the smaller details of how that big picture forms can get us in a lot of trouble. Saturn wants to make sure that we're stepping back to not only see the big picture, but to examine the smaller pieces of how it is that we're putting this big picture together to make sure that they are strong enough for us to actually move on. So this is like we build a step, and then we want to stand on that step and test it and bounce around on it a little bit and make sure that that structure is stable and safe and secure enough for us to move on to the next step, to the next level. And we want to kind of, I'm going to say, realize where it is that maybe we didn't put as much time, energy, and effort into bringing this particular step into fruition than we should. And why? Because maybe it's wiggly. Maybe it's just a temporary step. Maybe it's ugly. Maybe, we have to really refine how it is that we brought this step to life, how we, kind of calculated our energy into bringing this particular step into fruition. And now, seeing the bigger, broader picture, we could see where it is that we could have done it in a better way. So there is a little bit of a frustration that comes with Saturn because he is a little bit of a negative Nancy. I often refer to Saturn as like, the military grandfather, if you will. He loves you to death, but he's going to treat you like a soldier and give you those tough love life lessons. And basically, he's here to remind us that there is no easy fix, that Rome wasn't built in a day, that you need to have discipline in order to continue to build upon the structure that is needed in order for us to have that structure in place to bring our dreams to life. And now that Saturn is in Pisces energy, there is this kind of bitch slap of truth and reality going on, because we can't just live in la la land. We can't just live on our hopes, our dreams, our wishes, and expect them to manifest without putting some elbow grease behind it, without actually rolling our sleeves up, getting our hands dirty, and really putting some solid effort, some solid work behind what it is that we're trying to bring to life. So we definitely have this little bit of tension, this little bit of conflict arising. Again, we're in the dark phase of the moon, so we do have to examine the tension, the conflict, because that shows us where our attention is needed in order to make a change and a transformation. And we do have these very powerful, heavy-hitting planets bringing to our attention where it is that maybe we have to slow down with the dreams and refine those dreams in a realistic and practical way, so that we're not just building some shaky-ass foundation out there, and of course will not be strong enough to house the particular elements of our dreams and visions that we plan on stacking upon that particular foundation. So we do have to kind of step back and see if we could manage our time, our energy, our effort in a better way, and definitely be a little bit more focused, if you will, on the smaller details that are going to amount to the greater, grander picture. The moon will go ahead and square, which is a tension, a conflict, with Mars. Now, Mars has been squaring off with Neptune, with the Sun, with Mercury. There's been a lot of squares going on. And if you download your moon guide, you would know that Mars is a key player in this new moon as well. And to have the moon kind of square off with Mars as we're approaching this particular, I'm going to say, major shift in energies, we are a little bit all over the place. We're not trusting our intuition. We are not really trusting the cluster effery of all these thoughts, these ideas coming in. Our physical energy is muted. Our inspiration may be low. Our motivation and determination is also low. This is a temporary pause. Don't get lost in the funk, because the moon then goes ahead, sextiles Pluto. Now, this is profound for a couple of reasons. First of all, this is the last aspect that the moon in Pisces will be making before shifting into this Aries energy, which is officially kicking off the new solar calendar. The fact that it's a sextile is a positive thing for us. And the fact that Pluto is involved, he's the great transformer. So this does scream of a very dramatic shift in our emotions, in our thoughts, in our perspective, in our understanding. And then soon after, we get in alignment with those things, with our physical body, being able to go out in the world and actually, take action and make moves and boss up. This is an empowerment energy. And we are definitely kind of, I'm going to say, shedding the skin that definitely needs to be left behind in the old calendar, in the old version of ourselves, in the old reality that we're leaving behind. And we are bossing up to new levels of inspiration, motivation, where we are seeing the change, the transformation take place in our inner realm first before we're going to see it in our outer realm. This is a very significant shift in energy, and this will be taking place 11:58 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. 1:23 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the moon fresh into Aries energy, conjunct with the sun in Aries. That gives us our new moon in Aries. There are so many magical things about this particular moon. I go into depth about it in the Moon Guide, so definitely download the Moon Guide and explore the highs and lows, the everything in between. This is multiple points of beginnings of a fresh, clean slate, of empowerment, of taking action. There are so many different cycles going on at one time, and this is a hugely significant event. So don't sleep on it. Don't sleep on yourself. Do the work. Now, shortly after, we have the new moon in Aries peak. The moon will be semi-squaring with Uranus, the Great Awakener. Let me just be a little bit blunt with you. We are going to have a whole lot of confusion, mostly because people expect the energies to shift like clockwork, okay? When we talk about particular aspects popping off, it does not mean that the snap of the fingers and there's going to be a change. We all have different charts. We all have different energies interacting with these very important events, and it may take some time in order for the shift to take place, for the energy to inspire you, for you to actually feel the energies at play. The moon semi-squaring with Uranus, who is in Taurus energy, by the way, is a little bit of a tension point because we are confused, and we thought that confusion would clear under the peak energy of the new moon. We are very rigid in our thinking. We, I think, are expecting this big grand hoopla, and then it doesn't happen. And so we're kind of cluster effed on, well, where is it? Where's the shift? Why don't I feel any better? Where's new earth? Where's these new elements? How come I haven't manifested anything yet? There's a lot of pressure. Keep in mind, we have more energies now in fire than we've had in a very long time. Fire is fire. We get fired up. You get fired up in a good way. You can get fired up in a bad way. The energy is very chaotic. It's very scattered. It's very urgent. It carries a lot of impulse. And therefore, we're expecting big things to happen when realistically, that's not how the energy works. So there is going to be a huge illumination on what it is that we were hoping for, what it is that we want to see movement in, we want to see development, change, and transformation in, that we're kind of stunted out and we're like, what the F? Like, what is happening here, right? So we get a little bit confused. We get a little bit, I'm going to say, emotionally frustrated from not seeing the kind of speed and results that we were hoping for. The moon goes ahead, bumps into Saturn, and then the true node. So there is a little bit of a Debbie Downer narrative coming at us late in the afternoon. And, the moon in Aries is a lot of pick up and go, let's take action, let's make moves, act first, deal with the consequences later. Dealing with Saturn, we don't act like that, right? Saturn's like, no, sir, we do not just fly by the seat of our pants anymore. Everything needs to be well thought out. Everything needs to be calculated. Sure, you're feeling the heat, you're feeling the passion, you're feeling the fire. Glad you're back to life, but let's not kill ourselves so soon by just going out and acting willy-nilly without thinking about the long-term consequences of your actions. The true node in this interaction is kind of verifying that, guess what? Path isn't so clear, is it? Confusion's still at an all-time high. Where are you putting your time, your energy, your focus? this needs to be a little bit more structured. This needs to be a little bit more thought out. You need to calm the ants in your pants and get a grip, come back down to earth a little bit so that the moves that you are making are ones that you won't have to go back redo, okay? So there's a little bit of frustration here. The moon will bump into, conjunct, team up with Mercury. Mercury is also a key player in this particular new moon event. You'll know that when you download the moon guide. There's a stellium kind of happening here. And then there's some interesting aspects that this little trio is popping off with other people. The moon conjunct Mercury, this is like a clean slate. This is emotionally and mentally, we are trying to get in alignment. We're trying to get on the same page. We're trying to sort through our thoughts. We're trying to sort through our emotions. And realistically speaking, there is a lot of positive cleansing energies because, again, fire will burn through whatever needs to be burned through in order to clean that slate, in order for us to regenerate something better, something more plush, something more full of life in its place. So, you know, our headspace is on fire. There's rapid thoughts coming in, scatterbrained all as hell because of this Aries energy. Now the moon is in Aries energy. We're in Aries season. There's a lot of jitteriness, a lot of restlessness, a lot of anxiety, a lot of anticipation, a lot of urgency, a lot of impulse rising to the surface. But first, we got to make sure that our heart and our head are on the same page before we can engage the physical body to take actions out in the external realm to start mirroring back to us what it is that we've already arrived at and agreed upon as far as our visualizations, our dreams, and our visions go. So there's a lot going on in our inner realm. The last thing that we have going on here today is the moon interacting with Venus. So Venus is in Taurus energy, in her place of power. It's the only grounding energy that we actually have right now. We have to stay as present as possible. We have to make sure that we stay in the realm of our physical bodies, relying on our five senses in order to indicate for us as we go through this reevaluation of our lives, of our routines, of our relationships, of our money matters, of what matters most to us, of our happiness, our safety, our security, our goals. We have to have this grounding point and really listen to the physical reaction that our body gives us when exploring different thoughts and emotions and different variables for the plans that we plan on taking, and really listening to how the physical body reacts to that. So the moon interacting with Venus in this way, we're pushing to decide what it is that we have to kind of cut off for good, what we have to burn the cord with, what we have to clean the slate about, where it is that we want to bring new elements to life, where it is that there's new passion, a new excitement really kind of being renewed or even reignited within us. And especially where I'm going to say love and money is concerned, many of us not feeling so safe and secure in those particular areas of our lives, and therefore ready, preparing to make some serious changes where our physical realms, where the people that we share our lives with, where the resources that we depend on to keep ourselves safe and stable and above ground, where all of that is concerned.